Bioenergetic medicine is something a little more close to home than people probably think. It is an energy that flows through our body. It is, bio means body and energetic means energy, and there is an energy that is flowing through the physical body constantly. And if that energy is flowing freely, then we are healthy and vital and clear and strong and robust, and we can manifest and achieve the things that we want. And if it's not, it's kind of like we can't. So what we're doing is learning how to move that energy consciously and intentionally so that it doesn't stagnate, so that it doesn't cause our lives to become less abundant and flourishing than it could be. When energy is not moving, vital force isn't moving. So a communication that's designed to be happening in the body is not available. It's not available to tell the electromagnetic system, the respiratory system, the hormonal system, the endocrine system, the immune systems, what's going on. So if the energy isn't moving and the communication isn't happening, pretty soon our bodies just become segmented and breakdown starts to happen. Cells start to implode and disease gets started.
But Western medicine segments it. Here's the endocrinologist and here's the heart specialist, and there's various, it's like they take different departments from an organ.
Yes.
It doesn't look at the whole body.
Yes, and this is part of the problem. This is why our country is in the shape that it's in regarding so many disease conditions just taking over and so many medications that are being prescribed for all kinds of separate conditions, because we're no longer looking at the whole being in our medical culture, and it is time that we start bridging these worlds back together again and allowing the whole being to have a chance.
You know, the great news is that we can do this ourselves, and it's actually only ourselves that can do this, right?
Yes, we're the only one that can actually allow healing to happen. You know, the beauty is it's by design supposed to be happening automatically, and what we have not been taught is how to allow that to happen without getting in the way. Many of our habitual ways of thinking and being and doing and actioning in the world are what gets in the way of that natural energy flow to allow us to self-heal.
Even if you do so many things right, you've got environmental toxins and environmental stressors and things that we never could have predicted in our world.
Yes, absolutely.
So you pull this energy together from, is it multiple layers? Is it from the ground? How do you do this?
Yes.
Okay, it's all the above.
We're using the energies of the earth to help us feel grounded and nurtured, and we're also using the energies of inspiration and possibility to allow us to be uplifted and to engage in a bigger, better life for ourselves than perhaps we've been experiencing trapped inside of our old beliefs. And most importantly, we're learning how to take all those energies from outside of us and move them through the inside of us to allow an integration to occur, so that we're tapping all of the aspects of our wholeness again and allowing ourselves to live as magnificent creators rather than just striving survivors.
From the neck up.
Yes.
Now you have come from a long line of doctors, yes? Your father?
I do. I'm number 9 in a family of 13 doctors in my family.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're committed.
We're either very devoted or we're just not very creative to think of other things to do in our lives.
No, you're carrying out a massive body of work here.
We're completely devoted to this, and it has been my whole life purpose. I know that it's why I'm on the planet, to share the work that I'm sharing.
Nice. Tell me about your father and the Morter Clinic and the Morter Institute.
So the Morter Institute is something that I have founded in the last 20 years. I've been working with the work that my father developed and taking it further into the realms of meditation and kind of a spiritual application of this grounded body of work that was originally designed, called bioenergetics, to help people heal naturally. So my father was a pioneer in energy medicine, a term that is now becoming very popular and people are very interested because it depicts our ability to use energy to heal ourselves, and utilizing energy to heal ourselves is what natural self-healing is all about. So my father started developing these techniques in the 70s when it wasn't even a popular conversation. In fact, it kind of got ridiculed, but he stayed the course and developed techniques that doctors at the time were the only ones able to learn the techniques, were utilizing around the world, just in a hands-on kind of way, applying different energy modalities to different parts of the body to create circuitry for healing in the system again.
Mind is so powerful.
It is so powerful.
It sends all these messages and signals and then buries it.
Yes. It's trying to awaken. But when it's being utilized the way that we've been trained to utilize it, it struggles and it moves into a sense of survivorship and it wrestles trying to make things work. But it alone is not operating from a place of wholeness. And so we're constantly stuck in a reality of surviving and making do and trying to find what's wrong and fixing it, etc. So my work is about moving to an entirely different perspective altogether, so that we're no longer looking for what's wrong, finding it and fixing it, but we're using our mind and training it to become the creator that it is truly intended to be. It's supposed to be integrated in the body with the breath and allowing mind, body, spirit, if you will, to collectively work in a unified fashion, because when we unify, we're in an empowered state. When we're splatted and dispersed, we're not.
And separated and fragmented. So the mind sends these messages to the body, they get housed in the body, and then you help decode them and connect the mind and the body all together.
Yes, because when the mind connects with the body again, it starts listening instead of directing. When the mind is not connected to the body, it's trying to drive the show. It's like, I don't know, nobody's helping me, so I got to get this job done. Nobody's going to show up to make this happen. As it's isolating as a separate self, it begins to be really fear-based. That the high frequencies of the mind and its story writing, they start to become tethered and anchored to the body when we bring the mind onto the body and start to breathe. And when we do that, we start to interpret what's going on a little differently. And the difference is we become more available to possibility. If we bring the mind onto the body and there's some part of the body that's not comfortable or it's exhibiting pain, etc., there's a reason for that pain. And the reason is that energy is blocked. Pain is an excess of energy in the body, and weakness is a deficiency of that energy. And so what we have to do is get the energy flowing again so that the areas of blockage where the energy is building up get relieved, and the areas of deficiency where now cells aren't getting the signals they're supposed to get and they're not doing their job because of that, they start to receive some of that energy that was being hoarded over here within that blockage. So it starts to create a harmonizing balance in the system, and all those systems start plugging in and working together again for wholeness.
You can do this with your mind?
You can do it with your mind. Not just your mind, but your mind and your body and your breath. Our true path is accessible, but we have to connect the mind onto the core of the body if we're ever going to be able to perceive what our true, authentic, right next step is. Whether that next step is a thought, or the next step is taking an action in a certain direction that is truly going to serve our life destiny. Otherwise, we're shooting off in all kinds of directions, trying this, trying that, and going for this, and trying really hard, but trying really hard from the wrong come from. And so we don't have the outpicturing that we're looking for.
Now, in your life, do you source this energy from the earth, from spirit? Where do you source this energy?
I have to stay connected to the earth of me, which is the body,
okay,
which is automatically connected to the earth that we're all walking around on top of. And in the midst of that, there is a deep spiritual truth that rises up through the system. Energy pours down through the body automatically, a high frequency energy, which we would call spiritual energy. It traverses all the way down through the body and hits the earth and then turns and rises back up in a different frequency. The earth steps it down for what I call human consumption. And as it rises up through us, if we don't have blockages in the way, it rises all the way up to our conscious awareness, and we are in touch with our spiritual truth, our destiny, what's meant to be, our potentiality, etc. If there are blockages along the way, it picks up a wobble, it becomes distorted, and it creates a distortion in the energy field around the physical body. As the energy comes down through, rises back up, it comes up at the top of the head and creates this reverberation and recycling of energy constantly. We look out through that energy field, and if it has a wobble, it has a distortion, we see a distorted reality. And we can affirm it, we can build a case for it, but it still is distorted. And in that distortion, we make decisions that aren't so good for us.
And what about attracting other distorted energies?
It's the only thing we can do, because in that world, like attracts like. And so in that world, we attract distorted circumstances. We create this entire reality based upon what we think we see, but it isn't true. It doesn't have to be true.
So you've identified these through these energy codes. Can you tell us what those are? And you have a new book out coming.
Sure, yes. In the book, I'm going to be describing that over the years, I codified what was happening with patients as I started working with energetics. About 20 years ago, I had an experience that was a tremendous awakening, illuminating experience where I awakened at an entirely different dimension than this physical body world that we're living in. And after that, I wanted to return to that state because it was pretty amazing. There was a complete knowing, a complete presence. There was nothing missing. It was blissful. There was nowhere to go, nothing to become. It was completely complete. I began turning my life into a living laboratory. And as I would work with how to return to that state, I began sharing it with patients. And they started getting better faster and staying better longer. And so I started observing this. And I began to just codify what they were doing. So the energy codes are these codifications that are principles and practices that allow us to live from our creatorship instead of our survivorship, meaning really trusting who we are and building a way to make that easier, accessible for everyone.
That's amazing. So all that we talked about in the beginning of reestablishing that energy and allowing it to flow through the body, you've been able to decode where people have the blockages and to allow it to flow again.
And what causes building of new blockages too.
Are you able to tell us some of the codes and how we can discover those or learn those within ourselves? They're fairly simple, right?
The initial ones, the foundational ones. You know, I don't want people to think that they're going to understand all of what I'm teaching from this, but we can initiate some understanding there, absolutely.
Okay.
And they can have an experience because of that.
Okay, great. So let's talk about some of those codes. What are they? Or what are just your basic ones?
So there are some fundamental things that an individual can do that are going to pull them back onto this essential core being. Okay. And one of those things that we can do, you have to picture it this way. We land here and we kind of splat. We disperse. We kind of don't know what's what. Our mind goes one way, our breath goes another, our body goes another way, and we're just out here hanging out trying to make it work. And because of that, we identify as the mind that's looking around, looking outwardly to try to figure out how to fit in, how to be safe, how to do the right thing, etc.
Completely.
And our circuits get built in an externally oriented fashion. In order to reverse this, we have to direct our circuitry, our attention, back inward to call all these parts of us back home again. And as we do so, we start to unify. And when we unify, we have a greater power in the world. And we can feel ourselves here. We have a sense of self that we have never had before. So think of it like that what what about to practice is pulling ourselves back home again, landing in the core of the body, so that mind and body and breath, spirit in the body is the breath in the body. So if we can get mind and body and spirit working together again, what happens is a reorganization of the priority. We're no longer now having to live from our minds. We can live from our wholeness, the unified version.
Otherwise, we're just disenfranchised all the
Totally.
time. And that's those disconnected pieces of ourselves that we leave out there to grow and develop, and we don't own them again.
Yes, and with the best of our efforts, we try so hard and we never accomplish what we're after because we're working from a compromised disposition.
Not a wholeness.
Yes. So simple things like it's kind of wild, but if we can imagine that the energy is out here and it's bigger than me, bigger than my physical body, and I have to like bring it in and bring some organization to it, anchor it, so that I can concentrate it in my core, so that I can use that concentrated energy for purposes of healing, purposes of piercing through veils that are keeping my personal power from accessing my ability to experience unconditional love and keeping me from experiencing wisdom and connecting that to my personal power and being able to manifest. And all these different energies that are housed at different levels of our body now get to start talking to each other so that we can be strong and we can be loving at the same time. We can be innovative and we can be wise and maintain a finger on the pulse of what has traditionally been helpful for humanity, so that we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater as we're trying to create a new solution in the world. So all of this can come together if we just do some of these these simple things. So one of them is like, it's kind of wild, but if you think about, if you were going to the bathroom and you had to stop the stream all of a sudden, you'd have to squeeze certain muscles in the base of the pelvic bowl.
Right.
If you squeeze those muscles and you kind of lift them up toward your heart, and it might seem kind of weird to think about doing that the first few times, but if you practice it a few times, it becomes, second nature. And it gives the subconscious an opportunity to find a stabilizing presence inside the core of the body. And then, and the reason for that is important is, if we don't have a stabilizing sense of self inside the core of our being, we start creating friction in our outer world trying to figure out who we are. If we can create this gentle tension inside the body, then we can have a sense of where we are in the universe and who we are, and have a sense of self. And so this simple thing, it's a root lock exercise, just locking the energy at the root of our spine, allows us to start to develop this, oh, okay, there's my reference point. It's like having something to hold on to.
So it's a grounding piece.
It's a grounding exercise.
It's the root of our spine.
It's at the tip of the tailbone.
There's a lot of nerve endings there as well.
Tremendous nerve endings that ironically are the exact nerves that run through the hips and the pelvis and the legs and the feet into the earth. And so there's a line of communication that's trying to happen between the base of our spine and the very earth that we walk on. And the earth's grounding frequencies are so powerful for stabilizing our inspirations and our intuitions and our dreams and desires. So we need them both. We need them both. So this root lock is helpful to just squeeze these muscles at the base of the pelvis, okay? And then hug your heart on the inside, the center of your chest, not just your heart muscle, but in the core. Like if you were just gonna squeeze your body, make it smaller at the chest level, smaller front to back, and smaller side to side, and then go inside from there, like inner rings on a tree to the very inside, and just give it a hug. Just give your heart a hug. And now that's this root lock, and then this heart hug just above that. Then constrict your throat just a little bit, just kind of like a Darth Vader breath, okay? Just kind of like an ujjayi breathing. If you're a yogi, you would understand that term. And it might sound like, if you're almost snoring, what we want is a sound that's audible for just a moment, so that the mind can find where I'm supposed to be tracking my attention up and down through this central core channel of the body. Then, let's just roll our eyes up for a moment. Just roll them up, and you feel a slight tension behind your eyes. Just use that tension point as another anchoring point, as if we were going to drop a plumb line straight down through the central core of the body, from the top of the head, through the center of the brain, through that tension spot behind your eyes. Then relax your eyes, but memorize that place in the center of the brain, and then breathe so that you can hear your breath, and then hug your heart, and then squeeze at the root of the spine. Just kind of try it all on at once here. It's going to feel awkward at first. Yay,
Feels
it's
contracting.
perfect. All right? So then take a breath from the earth and imagine that you're breathing up into your belly, and hug your heart right in the middle of that. And then exhale right up through your throat and right up through the center of the brain. Right? Exhale through your nose and shoot the breath right out the top of your head. Just like a dolphin would out of a blowhole. Energetically, this is a measurable reality, that there is a channel of energy that moves through the human system. It'll drop the shoulders and it will relax you. Now, find that whole plumb line again, these 4 anchor points, just eyes, throat, heart, root to the spine, okay? Find that line, imagine it, and take a breath from overhead and breathe right down into your belly. And let it feel good while it's coming through. And then exhale right through your nose. Exhale, just shoot it right down through your body and into the earth. Just inhale and exhaling through the nose picks up power, moving up the breath through the turbinates in the sinuses, propels that breath to the bottom lobes of the lungs, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is just the part that relaxes us. And so it sends a signal into the nervous system just by how we're breathing.
Everything's okay.
That all is well.
All
it's
is
okay
well.
to chill out now. We can use this energy differently than we've been using it before.
I ask all of my guests that biggest why that you do what you do, and I'm going to try not to cry here because it's so beautiful. I can so see your why. But can you share it with us?
There. I know.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is because it's the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
You know, doing mind, body, breath reunion is the reunion of the human spirit. And as we are able to be here as the spirit beings that we are and be here fully, then this life experience is everything that it is meant to be. I will never not be doing this work. That's the way, really. You know, we have to find our own expression of what we're here to do. And I was raised in an environment that had so many answers. There was so much amazing information that was talked about at our dinner table. We were talking about quantum science before it was ever even talked about out in the world and printed in the journals. And yet there were aspects of that truth that didn't completely explain everything that happened in my life when I started meditating and had these larger than life experiences. And so I had to come to terms with the fact that sometimes we have to go beyond what we've been trained and what our cultural norm would say and what our own family dynamic believes in, and follow our path in order to do what we're here to do. And that is true for everyone.
Yes, yes, for anyone who's in that situation. I can just see you around the dinner table, a little bioenergetic Sue, feeling all, intuiting it all, going, wait, that doesn't make quite full, that's the full picture I want to tell you, but I can't.
Right. Until later in life, we go through enough experiences that we start to put the pieces together.
Yeah.
And then when we give ourselves permission to reveal what we're putting together for ourselves and have a trusted relationship with the universe, then what gets to happen is we bring our gifts.
Yes, and it all unfolds perfectly. When we look at it in hindsight, it's all exactly the way it should be.
It was all in divine order.
Yes, it was. Thank you so much for showing us what the meaning of coming back home into our body really is and how to practically connect back to home. Thank you. And thank you for watching this show. Your energy makes these shows happen, so thanks for being here as well. And if you want to watch more inspirational programming, you can go to Inspirations on Gaia. I'm Lisa Garr, and until next time, I invite you to stay aware.